Hello, everybody. Welcome to the whole story. We are here on a very busy United States Grand Prix recap week and Mexican Grand Prix preview week. Alex is hanging in there with a cold, but did not want to miss this episode for us, so we appreciate that. So we'll try to keep this episode as steady as possible. Alex, man, what a weekend! Sprint race probably boring. In my opinion, the race was pretty exciting. Drama. I'm about to throw you a lot of questions here. What's your rating of the weekend overall to start?
I'd give it like an 8 out of 10.
Ooh, he goes 8 out of
Oh,
10 for the weekend as a whole. Okay. I like
race was
it.
exciting. Qualifying was decent. Sprint sucked.
Okay, I like it, and I agree with all that. Let's go with my other questions. We had Red Bull, we had Williams, and we had Haas. New liveries this weekend. Let's let's
Yeah.
let's rate those.
Okay. So Red Bull have a love-hate relationship with their livery and as a whole.
Yep.
You did because they didn't really do much. Obviously, all they did was add the stars. I think really, but their overall livery looks pretty clean. It's nothing too flashy, but nothing too boring either. So I'd
Okay.
probably put Red Bull in last. I think Haas did a pretty good job, and then Williams did Williams like things. They don't, Williams was all right, I guess too.
Wait. So what's your one, two, three?
Oh, I'd probably go Haas one, two. I think it's a toss up between two and three between Williams and Red Bull. I would go Red Bull three, Williams two.
Okay, interesting. That is our livery master around here. He is the one that critiques it all. I didn't really see a lot of those before the weekend. It was just Haas is kind of what we talked about in the previous show.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, our show is a decent amount, a handful of days before the race starts. But when I saw those,
Did you see
I
how
was
Red Bull came in with
what?
like the helicopter? They came in with like the helicopter. They're like craning it in, and I think they asked Horner or something, and he's like, "Yeah, you guys better not drop
Oh yeah. Well, so I saw they craned that car in absolutely, but then I saw there was a picture and Max and Checo were in like two different helicopters, and then there was memes that like they kicked Sergio out of the helicopter into his own, which is just great. Man, Ryan's already in the chat. Lumberjack John, I appreciate you, Ryan. Do you, baby? Do you? Um, Man, there's just so much to talk about. Let's get right into it, Alex. Before we even recap, I can't wait. You know me. Disqualifications after the race. Lewis Hamilton, Charles Leclerc is going to be the big talking point. Um, Man, there's some good stuff on the internet about it. There's some revisions to the format that maybe needs to get made. But what are your thoughts on the disqualifications?
I'm just coming like I'm naive to the whole, I guess, rule set of F1 in general, to the most part. But I just don't understand how this regulation wasn't known to be a problem before the race started. Um, I get like stuff happens during the race. I know you came up with a theory that said the floor could have been thinned out because it's a bumpy track. Um, I just I don't understand how these guys go through an entire like rigorous race and then they get punished for something that's completely out of their control. And maybe they try to stretch the rules. I know Mercedes has tried to stretch the rules in the past, but I just think it's unfair to like disqualify their entire race because of something that could have been discovered before the race even started. I mean, you have practice, you have qualifying, you have the sprint race, everything was fine, and then you come up to the race, and we know that the cars are in what's it called when you're like locked out, you can't make any changes to the
Park
car after
Park
qualifying.
Ferme. Park Ferme.
Park Ferme, so they're from Park Ferme pretty much from Friday
Yep.
because qualifying was Friday.
Hmm.
How do you not know that they were against regulations at the FIA at that point? They must have checked their cars like 6 times at
Yeah.
least.
Uh,
It's
I'm
just
gonna be
crazy to me.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know the exact times that they check their car throughout the weekend. Um, the issue is that with this format, these guys on Friday have 1 hour of practice. That's all they have. Once their cars go out onto the track for the first time in qualifying, their cars enter Park Ferme. They can change air pressure maybe a little bit. They can change the wings, but they can't change the ride height. So that is how high your car is set up off the ground. That is where the problem came from. Now, I don't know if the cars get checked. I'm pretty sure they get checked after qualifying. I don't know about the new sprint format and how that all works. But the issue is that these guys had 1 hour and they never ran anything with a full fuel load. So normally with 3 practice sessions, they will load up the car, at least for one of them, with a full fuel load. That's why when you'll see them out on the track and they're showing their times and they're like a second and a half, 2 seconds off the pace, that's a race run. So when you go into Parc Ferme on a Friday, these guys don't get a chance to see what their car would be like on a full tank of fuel, which is going to naturally lower the car and give them more accurate wear on their skid plate. They're not going to have a chance to check. So there are some pictures that definitely showed the Mercedes and the Ferrari lower to the ground in compared to the Red Bull. It makes a difference. I'm not gonna lie. You want to be as close to the ground as possible with these ground effect cars. The higher you go, the more air is getting underneath, and that's not what I mean. These are ground effect cars. You want to be as low as possible. So it is an advantage.
Yeah.
Both teams have come out and said that their skid plates were too worn down. So neither one of them was out here like trying to say otherwise. Just both teams said that they didn't have enough time in one practice session to change it. But what do you think? Should they change the format with Parc Ferme? Like, another consequence of this weekend was you had 4 cars come out from the pits to start the race because they all needed to make adjustments. And what kind of look is it when first through 16th are on the grid and then you have 4 cars in the pits?
I do want to reiterate. I do want to go back to those 4 cars eventually. I questioned some decision making on that point. But that being said, yeah, like I said, I think this entire weekend, while it wasn't semi-entertaining, it was pretty good weekend overall. I think there's definitely problems with the sprint race format as drivers and myself, and I believe you have concerns with. It's too quick. It's too much. Yeah, and I get it. Everybody wants to see more racing and stuff, but if it's hindering cars and making the weekend this much harder to get to and get through smoothly, I think we have to readjust how we approach this entire situation.
Yep. And I saw some opinions on the internet that were like, they want to get the sprint format to be more consistent, right? Like it's already changed from last year to it determined your starting order to this year it's a whole separate thing to like, let's get this thing consistent. But you have to get it right as well. We can't just leave it inconsistent and it be a problem.
I think it should go back to the starting grid as a whole, just to switch up qualifying every now and then. I know Max isn't a fan of it. Horner's not a fan of it. I don't think many drivers as a whole are a whole fan of the sprint format and most of the teams. It really just serves no purpose other than just be a cash grab. But yeah, they got to get consistent. The FIA is just way too inconsistent. It's been a problem for at least since I've been watching, and I can't imagine what it was like in the past before.
Yeah, it probably was not good whatsoever.
It's probably even worse because they got away with it and nobody would call them out on it besides drivers. So now because there's social media and all this calling and stuff, and like a lot more people are following the sport, you're probably having a lot more voices being heard.
Yeah, I read one of Max's things about the sprint race this weekend and why it's not good. He made a point that the sprint race kind of shows you what the race is going to be like on Sunday. He was not necessarily wrong. The sprint race on Saturday showed who was going to have higher tire degradation, who was better on a short run, who was better on a long run. There's only one sprint race maybe I could think of, like Austria last year, I think, when Max won. And then on Sunday, the Red Bull, or I think it was Charles Leclerc, kind of straight up beat him on pace. And
Yeah,
so
now that I think back at it, yeah, you're right.
yeah, most sprint races though, Sunday or Saturday will really show you what Sunday's going to be like. Max Verstappen's point was that sprint takes away from the excitement of Sunday because you kind of know what's going to happen. Like you knew that Leclerc was going to struggle and struggle longer as the race went on. Max was going to have the best tires throughout the race. You kind of knew some of these things, and I don't think he's wrong. You know what I mean? Like
No, it's like, sorry, go.
No, go.
It's nice to see like him even saying that because like he benefited from the sprint races more than anybody probably has. And
Yeah.
I do know a few years ago in the 2021 season, where Lewis came back in Brazil and he came from start P20 all the way to P10. That showed you that Mercedes has crazy pace that race, and they were going to come back regardless. But that being said, like Max has benefited tremendously from it this year. I mean, he just won his third World Driver Championship through a sprint race,
Yeah.
and for him to come out and say like, "Hey, this format sucks," like this says a lot.
Yeah, I think that's a phenomenal point right there. It's always one thing like if the dude finishing 10th and not getting points or something is like this is stupid. But when the guy winning most of them, and as Alex just perfectly said, he's benefiting, he's getting extra points to secure his championship. When that guy is saying that they're no good, that holds that holds a lot of weight.
More value. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, absolutely right. Like Brazil 2 years ago, whatever. Oh my God, Lewis looked so fast on Saturday. Everyone knew it was going to happen on
That
Sunday.
race was insane. That was,
Yeah,
I think, one of Lewis's best races. He started P20,
yeah.
got all the way to P5 in like 15 laps, something like that, and then he
Uh,
had a
he got that
five
high?
lap grid penalty on top of that. I don't remember if he got to P20 or P10. I'm
I
sorry, I
want to
don't know
say
if he got to P5
P10.
or P10, but I know he started 5 places further back. I'm gonna
Yeah,
have to look that one up again, but I know he made crazy overtakes. It was insane.
yeah. But regardless, we knew what was going to happen on Sunday. That's Alex's point, and,
Yeah,
and he's not wrong. I mean, to me, it's exciting. Friday you have like a reconnaissance day. These guys can button down on their cars. You probably want to have this disqualification on a normal weekend. Saturday we have one round of qualifying, and then Sunday we don't know. Like throughout the year, we have an idea of which team is going to have the faster car on short runs, or who has the qualifying car. But you really don't know. And then Sunday's like a surprise, where this Sunday, like Max said, I mean, you knew it was going to happen, and what happened essentially played out. Um, Man, all right, you wanted to talk about the four cars starting from pit road. I
from
just
pit lane.
tell
Just
everyone real quick. Aston Martin and Haas both brought upgrades this week. They only had one practice to learn about these upgrades, dial them in before their cars entered Parc Ferme. Their cars were pretty much junk. They didn't qualify good. They did not have a good sprint, a good shootout. So they made more changes than what is allowed, which means they need to start from the pit. So you had both Haas's and both Aston Martins starting from the pit. So go ahead, talk about that.
yeah, so Aston Martin just seems to not know how to add any sort of technical designs other than copying Red Bull. But that being said, why are they giving Lance the upgrades and not their number one driver? That's
Um,
where I was upset. That made no sense to me. And daddy's money.
is that what they did? They gave
They gave it to Lance and not to Alonso. Yeah, they gave the
because
upgrades to Lance.
to my research beforehand, I didn't know they were getting upgrades until I was watching, and then they said that Aston Martin was getting upgrades. Um, but as Alex said, I don't
I
know why
think
you
it
would.
was the floor. I think it was the floor. I can't remember, but
I
yeah.
don't know why you would give it to one, especially because I know Fernando DNF'd, but he was making moves throughout the race. From starting from pit lane, like he was gonna get points. Lance Stroll ends up getting points, but so I don't know if maybe their upgrades might be working, or I don't really know if we got to see from them coming from pit lane
Pit
and then
lane. Yeah, we'll
Fernando
see.
DNFing. Um,
Well, again, Fernando didn't come with the upgrades. Lance did. So if Lance is scoring points, then maybe. But who knows?
yeah, but yeah, as Alex said, so normally too, Alex is not wrong. We've seen it multiple times. If you can only bring upgrades to one car, you're usually bringing it to driver driver number one, and the driver who has the whole entire team on his back. So uh, yeah, I mean, disqualifications is going to be the big thing. Oh, one more thing. So they took four cars to check because their their process, their inspection is so heavy. They can only take four cars. So they took Leclerc, Hamilton, Norris, and Max, I believe. I believe. So out of your four cars, two of them got disqualified. Uh, so it's just crazy to me that this should trigger. I mean, listen, I'm a Mercedes guy, so I'm going to assume that the other Mercedes is probably illegal as well. So I don't want this, but what's right is that you probably should have checked a lot more cars. Um, these two probably wouldn't be the only one disqualified, but because of the rigorous inspection, they said they can't check any more cars. Like their system is they're going to grab a random four and then hope that you don't want to cheat, because if you get picked into that random four, you get credit. But I mean, what do you think? Do you think more cars would probably would have not passed the skid plate inspection?
I think so too. I think your theory had some value to it, some validity to it. With like it's a bumpy track, and it definitely could have affected the skid plate here and there. I think you would have had more cars failing inspection too. Obviously, the McLaren's fast, or the McLaren passed. The Red Bull's going to pass. Um, I think George's car was probably illegal. Carlos is probably illegal. I wouldn't be surprised if the Aston Martin was illegal.
Yeah.
So on and so forth.
Yeah, and so now your headline is like Hamilton and Leclerc disqualified, right? Like that's the big headline. That's what I put on the thumbnail.
Yeah.
But like if you would have inspected 4 more guys and they all would have failed, that I really think that would have been like, okay, an hour is not enough time. Like these guys have not failed a skid plate inspection since I've started watching Formula One.
It was both the same thing too.
Yeah, it was this skid plate was just too worn down on both of them. Bumpy track, full fuel load, but I think it would have brought more awareness to the cause of like one practice in Parc Ferme isn't right if they would have popped multiple guys, in my opinion, instead of just 2. Ryan asked if they do these random checks after every race. Oh yeah, there's post race inspections after every race. They just grab random people here and there. So, all right, let's. You want to get into the results because we have a lot to do here.
Yeah.
Okay, qualifying. We'll start as we normally do. 20th place Logan Sargent, 19th place Lance Stroll, 18th place Alex Albon, 17th place Fernando Alonso, 16th place Nico Hulkenberg. Sargent in 20th, not a shocker. Stroll in 19th has become not a shocker. Albon 18th. Hulkenberg 16th. I think the big shocker was Alonso in 17th. You agree?
Yeah, for sure. I think it was his first time not making it past Q1.
Yeah.
I think all season because I'm pretty sure I think he's made it to Q3 the entire season except for this weekend.
Yeah. So it was a shocker. You were Haas was probably hoping a little bit more out of their upgrades, but Fernando Dion down there was the big like. All right, we got to keep an eye on Aston Martin because they just seem to be dropping like a lead balloon. This was another track too. Before we go into Q2, man, track limits again. We'll talk about it here in a second when we get to Q1. But
yeah,
damn, man, we got to fix this somehow. We got to fix it.
I mean, qualifying is the time people are going to. Again, I think it's less practice time. You can't really put the car in the limits, obviously, because you're trying to keep the car in good shape for practice, and you don't have that time to fix it over Friday night because you're qualifying Friday night. But it has been an issue. I think was it turn 19 that everybody was losing it, right?
Yeah, I think, yeah. The second to last corner is where it was getting a lot of people. So man, track limits another issue. And I believe I say that because I think Hulkenberg's time. I think someone's time got deleted to go down into that bottom 5. 15th though, you had Danny Rick. 14th, Kevin Mag. 13th, Valtteri Bottas. 12th, Joe Guanyu, and 11th place to AlphaTauri of Yuki Tsunoda. Pretty standard operating procedure there. Danny Rick down in 15th. He had a very up and down weekend. I had no idea what was going on with him.
Yeah, I mean, first race back, that hand injuries aren't. I can't imagine being the easiest thing to come back from right away. He did better in the sprint shootout.
Look at that, Alex showing compassion. Yeah, we'll get to that sprint shootout result, and that's the reason why I said he had a roller coaster because this was kind of a down, but then he had some ups. Man, I mean, I don't want to spoil it, but I'm pretty sure most people watch the race here. Man, Oscar Piastri in 10th place. He had the roughest weekend out of anyone that we probably
really rough weekend.
Yeah, anyone that we had high expectations for. He qualifies it in 10th place. Sergio in 9th, Esteban 8th, Pierre 7th, Max 6th place because of a lap time deletion. George Russell 5th, Carlos Sainz 4th, Lewis Hamilton 3rd, Lando Norris 2nd, and Charles Leclerc 1st. Out of that top 10, what do you got? Talk to me. Anything jump off the page at you?
Max hit track limits, right? And that's why he started P6.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, other than that, I mean, Mercedes looked pretty quick. Well, Lewis looked pretty quick, but that could have been because of the skip late.
Yeah,
so it's
it could have been.
But yeah, that was. I remember it was dumb close too, if I remember right. I think top 3 were separated, top 4 or something like that were separated by like thousands of a second. It was insane.
Yeah. it was floating around a 10th separate in the top three. Alex is very much right. New floor, I believe, for both Mercedes, unless they only put it on Lewis's car, but I don't think so. And he looked fast just right off the rip.
George struggled. I remember George. Yeah, George struggled on qualifying, it seemed like.
Yeah, George needed more tires, used more softs to get through like Q1 and Q2, so he had to go on a used set, I believe, for Q3. He just did not have the pace that Lewis had, but also it could be Lewis had low ride height. We don't know. The Alpine 7th and 8th, they had a love fest with television this week because they got a handful of new investors, new owners. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Rory McIlroy, and Anthony Jackson, the boxer.
I think it's.
I think it's Anthony.
I think it's Anthony Jackson.
Or is it Anthony Joshua? It's Anthony Joshua, right?
Maybe. I'm gonna have to look this up. You're gonna drive me nuts now. I'm gonna look it up. You keep on talking.
And then 2 soccer players. I kind of explained it to my wife as I assume it's like when Jay-Z owned the Nets. Like Jay-Z did never own 100% of the Nets. He owned a small portion.
Sorry, it's Anthony Joshua. Yeah, they definitely do just own small portions.
Yeah, which is great for Alpine. It's going to bring in more money. People will want to invest, so their investment is more when they go to sell. It seems like an all-around good thing for the team. They had an up and down weekend as well. As we go through the results, you'll find out. But qualifying 7th and 8th, and they just had McIlroy was at the race and Anthony Joshua. Is that what it is?
Yes, Anthony Joshua.
It's the 2 first names. That's what's crazy.
Yeah.
He was at the track.
I've ever heard Joshua as a last name either, to be fair.
Yeah, I'm with you right there. 2 first names. Interesting. Martin tried to talk to him on the grid walk. I don't know if he was actually able to talk to him though. Sergio in 9th, just let's follow suit with Max having the fastest car in the new qualifying 9th. Just pretty consistent for what Checo is right now. Lando in 2nd, as usual, doing his thing, and Charles with a great lap. He can put it there. So like I said, we got to fly because we have a lot to do today. Well, that rolled us into sprint shootout qualifying Saturday morning. 20th, Logan Sargent. 19th, Yuki. 18th, Valtteri. 17th, K-Mag and Nikos. Hulkenberg 16th. Yuki was, I don't know if he got impeded. Him and Lewis kind of got into it, I believe. He just basically never got another push lap. So qualified, I believe, 11th for Sunday's race, but 19th for the sprint was pretty much a disappointment for them. You had Joe in 15th, Stroll in 14th, Esteban 13th, Fernando 12th, Danny Rick 11th. So Fernando picks it up a little bit, Esteban drops down, and then Danny Rick with the big pickup, like you said. Danny Rick was there Saturday.
He almost
Saturday was
Q3.
His day.
It was very close to getting Q3, but yeah.
Yeah. You're not wrong. I believe he was 3/1000th of a second, 300ths of a second off. So Danny Rick was moving. Saturday was his day, as you'll see when we go over the results. 10th, Pierre Gasly. 9th, Alex Albon. That's huge for that Williams car. Alex just doing Alex things all year. George Russell 8th. And then I think he got a penalty for impeding Charles Leclerc, so that made him start 11th.
Did you hear Charles's comment about that?
Like in the car?
Yeah.
What did he say? That's a penalty, Mr. Russell, or something?
He goes, that's a exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Almost said the most disrespectful thing so calmly and so politely at the same time.
And called him Mr. Russell. I freaking love it.
Yeah.
Sergio Perez 7th, Carlos 6th, Oscar 5th, so he rebounded a little bit there. Lando 4th. Lewis said, I want to qualify 3rd in both things here. Leclerc 2nd, and Max put it where he belonged in 1st place. All right. So that takes us to the sprint race here on Saturday afternoon. I said to Alex, wow, that's really crazy that they're starting a sprint race at whatever I said. I think I was an hour off. I think I was wrong with the time change
I went
there.
To go watch it. Yeah, I went to go watch it, and I was like, and then you texted me. Oh, no. Yeah, that was Sunday. Sorry, you texted me. But no, I went to go watch it, and I remember watching. I'm like, oh, it's already over.
Yeah, I think I messed up the time there because I remember I was worried that they weren't gonna have enough daylight, and then when they started it, I was like, oh, it's an hour behind, and it looks super bright there, so they're good.
Yeah.
All right, so let's start. Lights off, away we go. Max Verstappen throws a crazy block on Charles Leclerc.
Sketchy.
I love Charles though. Charles after the race said it was aggressive right to the limit, but he said that's how what I would have done, and that's how I like to race. So I
That's
don't know,
fair.
right? That's respectful.
Yeah, that's fair. He definitely handled it as professionally as he could. I know
Yeah.
personally, I probably I would have pit maneuvered him. Um,
Do you hear
Jay
that?
Carter agrees.
You hear that?
I would have loved it.
he he's like so far away too. That's crazy. And I wonder if he must. I wonder if he's hearing himself on the television too. Um. Anyways, shouts out to Carter joining the show. Yeah, he handled it well. Pit maneuver might have been a little much, but um, I think one of the big stories there was Lewis Hamilton puts it on the outside. I freaking love Lewis so much. I don't think it was an easy pass, but he was definitely over track limits in my opinion.
Yeah, he was 100%. Yeah, I mean, he kind of didn't have nowhere to go. I think George did something similarly during the race or later in the sprint race.
Yeah,
Kind of
and he
had
caught a
nowhere to go, but
penalty.
they probably shouldn't have overtaken the way they did. But yeah,
It's not. I don't know unless it's you play a Formula One racing game like you play F1. When your car is out
uh,
on the curb like
yeah,
that, there's no traction. And I'm gonna tell you, real life is pretty much like that as well. Like once you get over it, and he was pretty much over that curb and still made that pass. It was impressive, but if I was like a Leclerc fan, I would have been like, yo, I want that spot back. But as a Hamilton fan, I was like, let's go. Um, so Lewis finishes second. He kept Max within striking distance for what, 8 laps maybe? Kept him in sight, and then
yeah,
then he drove away, and that's what we were talking about. You really saw that Max was going to have the best tire degradation on Sunday. But Hamilton second, Leclerc keeps it in third. Norris got stuck behind Seitz, who started off on soft tires and gained some positions. He really clawed down Leclerc at the end. You watch that time gap go away?
yeah,
Yeah. Um, and it kind of showed that like, oh shoot, Max is going to be starting sixth on Sunday. Lando's going to be starting up front. He's faster than Leclerc. If he can get ahead, Sunday might be exciting, which it was. We'll talk about. But Lando brought it home fourth, Sergio fifth, Carlos sixth, Pierre seventh, George Russell eighth, Alex Albon ninth. That's one spot out of the points for him. Piastri 10th. They said that he just kind of beat up the tires too early, and then he didn't have any tires left. It was not a good look for him.
yeah.
But
He was
I
struggling
forget
all
he's a
weekend.
rookie. Do you ever forget he's a rookie?
No, I
Oh,
mean only because I
okay.
only have him as like rookie of the year.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I just like he's done so well in so many races that like I listened
Yeah,
to his manager Mark Webber on Sunday, former F1 superstar, and he was like, "Yeah, he's a rookie. He's learned." And I was like, "Oh, that's true. Like, you got to give this dude a little bit of a break, I guess." Um,
no,
you
I
know,
mean like if you listen to his comms too, every now and then you could see like he's it seems like an Aussie thing just to remain calm and like humble the entire time.
yeah,
But every now and then you can just hear like the disappointment or like the lack of knowledge and experience from being a rookie in F1.
yeah. And Saturday was a rough one for him. Esteban Ocon 11th, Danny Rick again 12th, which gave me hope for him for Sunday. It didn't really come to fruition. Fernando 13th, Yuki 14th, Nico 15th, Valtteri 16th, Joe Guanyu 17th, K Mag 18th, Logan Sargent 19th, and then Lance Stroll with a little bit of issues. DNF'd there. George Russell overtook Joe Guanyu, basically off the track. I believe it was Joe Guanyu. No, it was. Who did he take off the track? Was it Ocon?
I
You
really
remember
don't
who
remember.
Russell took?
I don't know, but I do know it was off the track. It was very clearly off the track.
It was another sick move though. Like to
It
be that
was.
far off the
It
track,
was. I
he
also
put
think that showed how quick that Mercedes was over the weekend, though. To be fair, because I don't think anybody's like overtaking the way they were on the
no,
outside curve.
no, absolutely not. So that's your sprint race, and then let's get to our race here so we can get Alex, poor man's coughing away over here, keeping it intact. Though I appreciate it. Oof. So Max wins the race. Lewis finishes second on track but gets disqualified. Lando Norris finishes third. I think they gave us a great race up front.
Yeah, Lewis was I think it was you who told me. Like, yeah, I haven't seen anybody chase down Max with
Yeah,
Max actually trying all season, and Lewis is catching him. And we
yeah,
don't know if it's because of that skid plate or if the Mercedes actually has some pace. Well, I guess we're gonna have to find out next week.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, he just looked comfortable in the car, Lewis. I
Mm-hmm.
think back to Silverstone this year, a late caution brought that kind of time gap down from Verstappen to Lando.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
It was like
Qatar,
five
I don't.
seconds by the end. Even then, it was like 5 seconds by the end of it, and there was only like 3 laps left.
Yeah, Qatar, I don't really feel was like a real, like a normal race because of all the tires, and that's
Mm-hmm.
McLaren is fast on the short run, so that was not necessarily right. So, and granted, Perez did beat Verstappen, but still in those races, no one was catching the Red Bull. This,
Uh-huh.
Lewis Lewis caught the Red Bull. Starting the race here, Lando gets in front. Lewis is in second by about 4 seconds. He gets it down to 1.8, I believe, at one point. Max triggers the pit stops in third. Lando pits shortly after. Mercedes did a whole different strategy. What do we think?
McLaren
Red
did
Bull,
too.
best strategy out of the top three this weekend?
I mean, I think they can because the way the tires don't go as
Yep.
fast as the Red Bull, so they were able to get away with what they did. But I know Mercedes and McLaren both had a one-stop strategy and both failed. So,
Yep.
yeah, Red Bull definitely won the strategy wars there.
Do you think Lewis would have had a better shot to win if I Max was about 4 seconds behind Lewis when he pit. If
Mm-hmm.
Mercedes would have responded and did basically the same pit strategy, do you think they would have had a better chance of winning that race?
No, I don't think so. I think that the Red Bull tires are just going to hold up better than Mercedes. I think the
Yep.
Mercedes did the best they could with what was available to them.
Um, yeah, I kind of agree. Lewis Hamilton, I believe it was his second pit stop, was a little bit of a slow pit stop, 3.6
Mm-hmm.
seconds. And he kind of needed to send it in a little bit earlier on Lando Norris and get that done. Um,
Yeah.
but what was the distance? Was it 1.8 is what he was behind Max was the closest?
So, yeah, it was like yeah, it was about somewhere in the 1 to 2 second range. I think it was
Yeah,
like one. I
when
think
you
you
get
were right.
1.8 behind second Max, it's easy to look at and say, that pit stop was a second faster or 5 tenths faster, and he could have made that pass on Norris sooner. He might have caught him, but
It's
that's a lot
also
of what ifs.
we really don't know what Max is doing for pace either. He could be taking it easy because he knows he's gonna win the race. I mean, like it was 1.8 seconds, so you do start to get worried there, but it's Max at the same time. He could easily just like
So
start driving for real.
I don't think Max could have turned it up on Sunday. To be honest, he was complaining about his brakes a lot. He was
Yeah, I
very
don't.
he was very testy on the radio. So I think, as much as we're hyping up Mercedes, I am right now. I think the Red Bull had brake problems, and so I don't know. That's just me. I don't know what you think.
I mean, he was kind of complaining the entire weekend for the most part too. When he did, I can't. I think it was during initial qualifying. He was complaining. I don't know if he was complaining about somebody impeding or something. I forgot what it was, but he was complaining about that, and then the bumps, and he was struggling on that. He did a full 720, and then somehow kept that car out of the wall, which
Yeah,
is insane. But yeah, Red Bull wasn't on. They weren't at top notch this weekend for sure.
yeah. They looked beatable for the first time in a while. Is before this in our recap show last week, me and Alex talked about that we don't think Max has wrecked any cars or spent any money. I think we brought up the one spin out. He spun out again this week, and like Alex just said, managed to keep it out of the wall, keep it in one piece, no damage. Um,
Just a
what's
flat spot on the tires. You know what
yeah,
Yeah.
which I'm sure Red Bull is
Do you
fine with
remember?
all day.
You know what
Um,
it reminded me of? Do you
what was
remember?
that?
I can't remember what year it was, but when Lando spins out and they're like, "Is anything wrong with the car?" He goes, "No. Is everything okay?" Yeah, just a lack of talent. That's all.
Yeah, I'm almost positive that's Austria. I just don't know the year. I know
I
exactly
think
what
it
you're
was.
talking
I
about.
think it was the last year Danny Rick had with McLaren. I think it
Yeah,
was last year.
yeah,
No, it wasn't last year. It was the year before because I don't think they had the regulation cars yet.
um, yeah, absolutely. A little lack of talent there. Max just stepped on it, but still did great for the weekend.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lewis looked like the first guy to bring him a fight. Obviously, Lewis gets DQ'd. So Lando ends up finishing second. Solid race by Lando. I think that's exactly what they had for a car, a third fastest car. There's no real mistakes. I like Lando. I was just impressed. I thought that was a good race by him.
Oh yeah, for sure. I want Lando to win one sometime within the next 2 years.
I'm actually with you.
Every every now and then, I always go back to that Ricardo win in was it Monza?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm thinking because Lando literally held back. He could have overtook Ricardo, but he chose not to. He chose the team game. I wonder if he's going to look back on his career a few years from now if he's still struggling to get that win and think, "Damn, I should have gone for it."
Yeah, possibly. This you just reminded me. This was Russell and Lando Norris's 100th start this weekend. They both started at the same time in 2019. Some similar stats, I believe. One race win for George, 0 for Lando. Oh my God, 10 podiums maybe for George, 12 for Lando, and I think they were tied for, or they each have one pole. And Lando has a little bit more points. So, but pretty similar stats for those two.
Lando only has one. I thought Lando
Pole?
had two. Yeah, I thought Lando had two pole positions.
All right, maybe two. I think it's one, but
No,
maybe
no,
two.
you probably. I mean,
They,
you're probably right. It was one. I remember he did get one, and that was super unexpected. I forget what year it was. But I could
I
have
think
sworn
that's
he
the
had one
only
this
one.
year too.
No, I
I
don't
could
think
have
he
sworn
got
he
one
had this
this
one
year.
year. Uh,
So very similar stats. Carlos cites the Ferrari with the better strategy because, as we'll go over, Ferrari absolutely killed Leclerc's strategy. He finishes third because of the 2 disqualifications. Sergio Perez finishes fourth because of the 2 disqualifications.
Can't even get to the podium.
Leclerc finished sixth on track before the disqualification. Max starts sixth, finishes first. Leclerc starts
Charles
first.
starts first, finishes sixth.
Classic Ferrari. I don't know, but did they do it? Did they one stop him? They one stopped him, right?
I'm pretty sure they did. Yeah.
So they ran him super long on the mediums. They put him on the hard. He had no tire left at the end. Classic Ferrari. It's one of those painful things where they asked him to give up the spot to Carlos too. Like,
I just don't think I don't understand what they're thinking. Like they've been struggling with tires all season. Why would you try to go for that strategy whatsoever?
I agree with you.
Especially if
It's
you
just,
saw Mercedes and McLaren pit. Like,
yep. No, I'm with you. It was painful to see for Charles. It's just when they're asking you to let your teammate by because they put him on a better strategy, like there's nothing you could have done. That's just tough. But George Russell ends up finishing fifth because of the DQs. Pierre sixth. That's a great day for him. That bumps him up big in the points. Lance Stroll finally scores some points in seventh. Yuki in eighth, and then the most exciting part of the weekend, double points finish for Williams, baby. Alex Albon doing his thing in ninth, and then Logan Sargent gets his first points finally in 10th place. It's crazy.
You see the point total. Logan Sargent was losing to the safety car.
Oh my God.
The medical car. It was
Okay.
like 2 points for the medical car.
Yep. Okay, so yes, 2 points for the medical car. Coda also had blunders. My phone's up there. They did like a banner of all the drivers on something, and they had Felipe Dragovich instead of Lance Stroll, and then they fixed that. And then I think they misspelled Danny Rick's last name. There's no I in it. They messed that up.
Scarda.
So. Oh no, we lost Alex. Let's see if he comes back to us in a second here. He back. You're back? Oh, he's gone. Are you back?
Yeah, I think so. Can you hear me?
Okay, cool. Alex just needed a quick half-second break. He's back. Yeah, so big day for Williams. Yeah, they got him losing in the safety car. That's funny as hell. But yeah, finally a point. I texted Alex that Sargent won the U.S. Grand Prix, and he didn't believe me at all. How disrespectful. I love your text back. Max probably won. And I was actually excited because I was like, he does, but he doesn't win like that. I bet you didn't expect it to be that close, right? I know I didn't.
No, not at all. I ended up watching it later, guys, just so you don't know. You didn't watch it live, sorry.
No, you're good. And then we have Haas's upgrade, 11th, Nico Hulkenberg. 12th is Valtteri Bottas. 13th, Joe Guan-Yu. K-Mag, 14th. Danny Rick, I don't know what happened to him. Some points he looked like he was in it, and then at the end of the race, he was on a soft in the way of Lewis Hamilton in 15th. Fernando, Piastri, and Esteban all DNF'd. I believe there was some first first lap contact with Oscar and Esteban.
You see, Esteban, yeah, well, it was. Oscar was struggling. And then, you see, Esteban has the most DNFs this season.
Is that true?
Yeah, when they were DNFing him, they were like announcing it. They were like, Esteban is the most DNF. I'm like, that's crazy.
I believe that because there was a few stretches where there was like one, and then they doubled DNF the next week. Like Alpine,
Yeah, he's been struggling.
Alpine's had a rough week. So, man, race results. It was a good one on strategy between the top three. Yeah. So let's take a look at our drivers' points totals after the weekend because of the DQ. Max Verstappen first with 466. Nothing really changed there. Sergio Perez 240 now to Lewis Hamilton's 201. Lewis was going to gain good points on Sergio this week. He is now 39 points behind. That'll be tough to make up. Fernando Alonso fourth with 183. Carlos Sainz fifth with 171. Lando Norris now overtakes Charles Leclerc with 159. Leclerc 151. George Russell with 143. Oscar Piastri in ninth with 83 points. And then Pierre Gasly, this is outstanding, jumps into 10th place with 56 points. Fourth place, Fernando Alonso has 183 points. And his teammate is now sitting in 11th with 53 points. He has actually more than 3 times the amount of points as his teammate, which is why Alex wants him gone in the worst possible way. Esteban Ocon now in 12th with 44. Albon in 13th with 25. Bottas. It gets kind of tight here. I know no one really cares, but like Bottas is in 14th with 10. Nico is in 15th with 9. Yuki's in 16th with 8. Zhou Guanyu is in 17th with 6. K-Mag 13. Liam Lawson is in 19th with 2. And then Logan Sargent has 1 point finally.
So what safety. You're telling me is Sargent still has a shot at 14th.
I mean, he really does.
I know. Just look at that point total, though. You could add Checo and Lewis's points together, and Max is still winning.
Oh yeah, yep. Max would not need Sergio to win the constructors title. It's pure domination at this point. You got the graphics up on your screen?
I see the points.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah.
I love that. I hated reading the graphics while like it was just us on the screen. I think this is so much better. I gotta toot my own horn because I am very happy about this. Now we go on to the constructors. Red Bull 706, Mercedes 344, Ferrari 322. So that battle's close. It's still 22 points. It would have been more without the DQs. Ferrari gains a little bit of ground there because of the disqualifications. You had Carlos finishing third and George finishing fifth. McLaren in fourth with 242. So they are 80 points behind Ferrari. I don't know. Too much, you think, to make up, or you think they got it?
McLaren to Ferrari. How many races are left? 3, 4.
We have Brazil, Mexico, US, and Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, so 4 left. Yeah, I think they're pretty. I think Ferrari's pretty safe.
Yeah, I gotta agree. 80 points is a lot, and especially not to sound like the Mercedes fanboy I am, but like if Mercedes has like pace now, it was one thing when McLaren was finishing 2-3. Like if Lewis is about to start finishing up in the top 3 and George, maybe I think it'll be hard to get that 80 points. But they overtake Aston Martin, who's sitting in 5th with 236. You have the ginormous 136 point gap to Alpine at 100. They're just all by themselves. They are just clear by themselves. There's no one near them. In 6th, Williams 7th with 26. Alfa Romeo in 8th with 16. Haas in 9th with 12, and AlphaTauri with 10 points in 10th.
I'm so happy for Williams.
Me too. And hey, Albon does not have all 26 of those points. He only has 25. So that is our constructors as we head into Mexico next week. Did we lose Alex again? Jeez Louise, Alex, where are you going? Let me check this kid. Alex, you back? Hold on, let me fix this. You back?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep. Alex keeps going on
Alright.
quick 1 minute hiatuses, but that's okay. Um, I'm gonna wait until Alex tells me that he's got the graphics up on the screen for our pick results.
Oh, you got big points this weekend.
No, disqualifications killed.
Yeah.
I don't want to say they killed me, but they hurt me. They hurt Alex a little bit too. So I mean, it's all fair. And we're not using on track results. We have to go with the results after post race inspection. Let me know when you see it up on your screen.
Got it.
Okay. So top 5 was Max, Lando, Carlos, Sergio, and George. Alex had Oscar, who had an atrocious weekend. Max in 2nd, Lando in 3rd, Lewis in 4th, and Carlos in 5th. So he had Max, Lando, and Carlos.
John, I think you got the point total wrong. I think
What
you got 8. You got Lando and Max in the right spot. Isn't it 5-3?
Oh, it is. Shouts out. Okay, sorry. Wait, is that okay? Hold up. Let me check something real quick. That is what I. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. After the disqualification, I was right. Okay. All right. So Alex picked Oscar, Max, Lando, Lewis, and Carlos. He had Max, Lando, and Carlos right in the top 5. That gives him 3 points. I had Max first, Lando, Lewis, Charles, and Oscar.
You would have had a monster. You were close.
Yeah.
If Charles didn't get a shitty strategy and Lewis.
Yeah.
No, I think you had a better weekend going this way, to be honest. 5.
No.
You would have had 5, and you got 1 point for Lewis because Lewis would have been in 2nd. You would have got 1 point for Lando because Lewis would have been 3rd. Lando would have been 3rd, not 2nd. And then Charles finished outside the top 5.
So it would have been the same exact thing.
You would have gotten 7. I think.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you would have 7.
This actually does work out. It works out better for me. Okay. Yeah, so I had Max in the right spot, which is 5, and then Lando in the correct spot, which I messed up, which is actually 3 points, which gives me a total of 8. So Alex is sitting at 112. His point total is correct. Mine should be 2 higher, which puts me at 101. So I am 11 points behind in our picks game here that is winding down to the end. Man, I'm going to say that, yeah, I did mess up. I think the DQs made for everything interesting. Alex, what do I have here on my YouTube screen? As I'm going to throw us back on the screen here. Let me just do something real quick. Okay. All right. So let's go to our great fans that we have, all 2 and 3 of them. So Mick picked Lando, Max, Oscar, Charles, and Carlos. So Mick would have gotten 1, 2, 3. Oh no. Yeah. He would have gotten 1, 2, 3 points for Lando, Max, and Carlos in the top 5, but not in the right order.
I think mine got big points too.
My dad picked Lando, Sergio, Russell, Max, Lewis. So he would have gotten 1. Who finished? Where Sergio finished 4th?
Yeah.
So he would have gotten 1, 2,
Yeah, Lando,
3,
Sergio.
4. He would have gotten 4. And then Ryan guessed Max, Lando, Piastri, Russell, and Hamilton. So he would have gotten 5, 6, 7, 8. And then Russell in the top 5 is 9. So he would have beat us again. Oh, no.
Yes. Brian gets these crazy weekends. DQ weekend, man. I'm pretty sure his last one was pretty crazy, too.
Yeah, it's fun. If we had better stats, which I don't have the capability. I'm maxed out with making graphics. But, if this was ESPN, the point, if we did points since Ryan has started making actual predictions, I think he'd be beating us. Man, shouts out to you 3. Out of our guests, we'll call you guys our Ryan said I'm coming back. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna keep pushing us along here. All right, we are to the Mexican Grand Prix this weekend. Checo Perez's home race. I am going to hit Alex with the normal shenanigans that I do here because I love doing this to Alex. It's my favorite. Most wins here.
Red Bull or Max, sorry.
How many?
It's a newer race. 3?
It is Max with 4, and then the constructor Red Bull is tied with someone.
So for Ferrari?
Nope. This is going to be a tough one. You're going to have to go deep into the bag if that helps you at all.
Renault? No.
Oh, yeah. No, I think you're on the right track with Renault, if that makes sense. I think. I don't know.
Lotus.
Yes. Yo, shouts out.
I just got the color. I just guessed it off color, I swear.
Yes, listen, that's big because I wouldn't. That's big, Alex. I'm proud of you for guessing that. Mexican Grand Prix, if you don't know, it has a ginormous front straightaway. That is probably the main passing zone into a chicane and then another DRS zone. If you don't get the passes done in one of those 2 straightaways, you basically just follow through the rest of the track. They have a pretty cool stadium section in the last chicane. It's pretty cool. There's some pictures in the backgrounds of some of our stuff that I've used today, either our thumbnail or when we go over the gambling odds. It's a pretty cool track. But you got to get the overtaking done in the straights. You know, I think you can have a decently fast car through the middle section, but if your car is too draggy, it's going to be tough to pass. I think it's going to be a good Red Bull track because how fast they are in a straight line with DRS. So that'll play into my predictions. What do you think of the Mexican Grand Prix as the track, as a race weekend? Give me your thoughts on what's what.
It's the fans usually come out pretty well. It's an alright track. It's like mid-tier, I guess. Not don't hate it, don't love it.
All right. So Alex is throwing the mid-tier out, is what he says. That's so.
And I don't mean that in a slang way, mid now. I meant that the middle. Don't love it, don't hate it.
Alex, that's legit where the slang comes from because it's the middle.
What do you mean? High thought, but wasn't high. This is just how my brain works. What?
I don't. Is Ryan day drinking?
This man in his twisted teas, probably.
Twisted teas. Oh no, he gets called out for twisted teas.
I wish I was exaggerating.
Oh man, Ryan. Yeah. So Mexican Grand Prix. Remember, there was big drama about Perez announcing his retirement here, which he denied, and then there was rumors that he is going to lose the ride if he does not get P2 in the constructors, which last week would have put pressure on him, but with the disqualification, he's looking very good there in P2. It'll be tough for Lewis to overtake. So as we're going to go into the gambling here, as me and Alex pull this up, let me adjust this on the screen for you guys. Oh yeah, this is what I'm talking about. If you guys are looking on your phone and you're new, like I know Ryan is probably new here, Mexican Grand Prix here. This is the stadium section. This is where they go after the race to here, podium with all the fans. It's pretty cool. You got that on your screen yet, Alex?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. So I did this last night. I'll do my best. Some of the numbers adjusted. I think just 2 of them. So Max, no shockers in first with minus 400. I think Sergio in second is the shocker with plus 700. Tell me that's not some home race cooking right there.
I was gonna say that's definitely the home race there.
Yeah. I think he finished second last year too. Is that right? I believe so.
Yeah, because I remember Red Bull dominating U.S. to Mexico.
Yeah. So they put Sergio in plus 700 in second, which I think is nice. I want to say Sergio might have been plus 750 and Lewis might have been plus 1200 when I looked before we got the show started, which is not a big difference from plus 1400. They are kind of separating themselves from their teammates, Lewis and Lando with plus 1600. George and Charles with plus 2800. And then Oscar plus 3,000 and Carlos with no respect, who beat Charles Leclerc this weekend, plus 3,500. Um,
I don't think they're giving Oscar a fair amount of respect either. Because I remember him and Lando were pretty close. I know he had a rough weekend, but
yeah, you're not wrong. Like Qatar, like from Qatar to United States, they just like totally discounted. I don't want to say discounted, but they really threw Oscar down there. No shocker, Fernando 19 plus 8,000, and then it's bus wide open. Pierre plus 20,000, Esteban plus 20,000, Albon plus 20,000, Yuki, Stroll, Ricardo plus 50,000, Valtteri, Nico, K Mag plus 70,000, and then same old thing here. Logan plus 80,000. Joe Guan Yu plus 80,000. Um, so, uh, you know, no real respect for those guys. Um, did you see? Oh, you can't see the comments here.
not yet.
Ryan's definitely on some twisted teas today. Are you ready? One of our listeners suggested that since Max wins every race, they should have every car wrapped in an identical wrap, every driver with an identical helmet and suit. You'd have to try and figure out which driver is which and wouldn't know until the end of the race when everyone takes their helmets off to take the podium. Like
Oh
the
yeah,
masked,
we're really not gonna know who Lewis is.
like the masked singer, he says. All right, Ryan. But we're gonna know who's who when they go to pit. What about that? Now we're not showing pit stops.
Everyone has to wear the same team uniforms, but then they have to switch up the order. They have to have Max go all the way to the back.
Like random, like because we know the people you know, like Horner.
Red Bull has the most famous, and then Red Bull has like the most famous pit crew member of all time.
I definitely don't know his name, but I know exactly who Alex is talking
You know,
about.
so you
Like,
know what I'm talking about,
yep.
right? Like he does like interviews and everything.
Yeah. That's what me and you, me and you know exactly who we're talking about. That's hysterical. Yeah, it would be a little tough. Plus, when there's be like a 2.1 second pit stop, you know it'd either be McLaren or Red Bull.
Red Bull or McLaren.
Yeah.
And on top of that, can you imagine a driver going to the wrong garage and they just forgot? Like Mercedes is so close to being always used to being the front. They just go to Red Bull's garage, like, oh snap. Now I gotta reverse it.
Alex, we're gonna put that one on the shelf, bud. I think we're gonna let that one sit. All right. Well, we're almost at an hour here, and we have our picks going. I am picking first this week, right? Is that right?
Sounds about right.
All right. And I'm really trying to win. I'm trying to Lewis this thing. I'm trying to close I'm trying to close the gap with a few races left. So I'm picking Max first.
Lewis this thing.
I'm trying to close that gap. Yes, sir. Where are you going? I already wrote it. Don't worry.
I'm actually gonna go Lewis here.
Oh my God, are you really?
He had a lot of pace, and like you said, he chased down that Red Bull. I mean, like, who's to say the strategy didn't help, and maybe you put Max.
I swear on everything that is holy, if Lewis wins the race and I'm not the one to pick him in my prediction, I will lose my mind. I don't think Mercedes has it in a straight line, but you're right.
I don't think so either, but like we'll see what happens. I kind of, you know.
Oh, man, there is a lot like through the middle part of the track. There's a lot of dirty air, and if your car's good through there and you can build enough of a gap, it can be hard. Wow, you're going Lewis first. My mind is like, you just killed me. Like, I don't like that you do this to me. Oh my gosh. All right, so you're going Max 1. You know what? Second, I'm going shocker here. I don't care. I'm going Sergio. We're going repeat of last year.
I was debating throwing Sergio P1. Wow, I'll go Lando P2.
Okay. Wow. Where's Max finishing?
I'm just gonna have him at number 5. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm just gonna explode that there. I gotta have him in my top 5 because I need points. But
wow, interesting. All right.
Up somewhere, right? He spins out. Gets too excited because of the crowd. He gets pissed off at the fans booing him again.
He wasn't pissed.
No, I know he handled that really well.
Yeah, I like that about him. That he was like, I don't, you know. He's like, do you guys? All right. Max 1, Sergio 2. Yeah, I'm going Lewis. I'm going Lewis 3. You're crazy if you don't think I'm throw him in the top 5.
Fair. Get him on the podium. I'm gonna go 3. Hopefully Ferrari doesn't mess anything up here.
Who'd you go? Did you pick?
Charles.
Okay. I thought you just said Ferrari. I was like, am I missing something?
No,
All right. So you're going Charles 3. Oh man, what do I got? I got 4. Oh man. I did not like McLaren's speed at Spa. That really bothered me.
Ooh, shocker. Throw an Aston Martin in there.
Yeah, definitely would not throw an Aston Martin in there. It's honestly between Carlos and George. I'm going Carlos. I'm going Carlos. He's gonna feel the vibes of this weekend. Going Carlos 4. So we need your 4 pick.
See, I'm debating between Oscar and I'm gonna go Checo.
You're gonna go Checo.
Go Checo
All right.
4. Yeah, I think we're gonna get some rumblings from the Red Bulls this weekend. I think it'll be a little fighting.
All right. So Alex throws the Mexican in 4th, and has Max in 5th already. So my 5th pick.
Sí se puede.
Max, Sergio, Lewis, Carlos. Man, I have to go Lando 5. But I'm just also like, man, why am I not picking George? Why is George's form look so bad that we just show him no love?
He's looked bad all weekend.
All right, so we have it.
I really hope this floor didn't give Lewis all that pace. Because if this floor give Lewis all that pace, I'm going to look horrible. I at least need him in the top 5.
Yeah. No, I think he'll be fine. Because he showed he'll be in the top 5. I don't know if he has a first place car, but I think he'll be in the top 5.
I'm calling it. Red Bulls are going to fight. Checo wants this win, and he deserves it. And I don't think he's going to play the team game any longer.
All right, well here it is. Alex is thinking Lewis, Lando. We're going the Brits 1-2, Charles 3, Sergio 4, Max 5. I'm calling Max on the top step. Sergio 2, Lewis 3, Carlos 4, and Lando 5. I really think Lewis will finish second again. To be honest with you, that's
I think we're gonna have a monster weekend at points. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think I'm gonna get like 3 or 4 points just from like 1 point alone. Max is gonna finish in top 5. I think Lando's gonna finish in top 5, and I think Lewis is gonna finish top 5. Checo and Charles are definitely toss ups, but you have Max, who's probably gonna win the race. Let's be honest. I think Lewis will finish. I think Lewis is gonna finish exactly where you have him. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think he'll finish P3. I think Lando or Charles will finish P2. A Ferrari, because that's straight line speed. As long as they don't mess up the strategy.
This is crazy because I want to win the game, but like I can't do a backflip, but I would like love if I'm wrong and you are right and Lewis wins. Like that was the happiest I'd ever be to see you get 5 points for picking a winner. Like I'm dying over here to see Lewis Hamilton win a race. I did not sit down for the last 5 laps of the race. Like I felt it in my bones.
Really?
Oh my god!
I
thought we had a shot winning a race. Oh man. Oh, that was tough. At one point, you should say, "I'm Brooke. Mercedes fumbled the strategy. This is it. We could be so much closer." I'm like, they screwed it up, and then I see him catch it, and I'm like, "All right, strategy masterclass. Let's go, Mercedes." Yeah, I was one of those guys, man. All right. Well, listen, Alex was out here dying, and he stuck around for an hour show. Look at this guy. He's dead. I appreciate it, Alex. Thank you for joining us today.
Anytime, Mr. Johnson.
Listen, you guys, you know how hard it is to do 3 podcasts back-to-back weekends with race recaps and previews. Poof, we're up there with what the team guys have to go through traveling across the globe and stuff. So, yes. I love this. Ryan threw it. Ryan, I wasn't gonna ask because I wanted to end the show for you, Alex. Because I know you're not feeling well. But Ryan still sent in his prediction. He sent in Max, Lando, Sergio, Hamilton will cheat again but not get caught, and Oscar. Oh my god. What if this is right? This could be right too. You
Do
know
you think
this.
Ryan has a genuine disdain for Hamilton, or is it just like a complete troll thing?
I think it's a complete troll thing, but I mean, we'll
I
never
don't
know, will we?
know. I really don't know. I know he actually does like Max a lot. I know you and I are fans of Max, so
Yeah, but like that's so crazy because we like I'm like Hamilton fan to the max, and you are a Hamilton fan. So you think we would have steered him towards Hamilton because we
oh
are
no,
his way
Ryan.
to
No, I mean like Ryan has this different way of thinking about things. To be fair,
we are his way to F1. But yeah, I
yeah.
guess, and he went straight for Max. Well, Ryan, shouts out. So far, you are leading. I can't wait to. I'm so excited for guest pickers next year. You, Alex, that was one of your top tier ideas. I can't wait to bring these guys on and/or get their picks next year, and have a lot of fun with that. So, man, that's where we're at. Like I said, next week, uh, next week is just the second week of a. Oh no, yeah, no. Next week will be our recap of the Mexican Grand Prix and our Brazil preview, and then the following Monday is just our Brazil recap. So, we're all good
Hopefully
there.
next week should be fun. I love Brazil.
Yeah, Al, you'll be feeling a little better, so we'll be good.
Mm-hmm.
Um, man, that's all. Thank you guys for watching. Man, the whole story. We're here. Like and subscribe if you haven't. Even though I know the 5 people watching, and I know they all have liked it or they all are subscribed. So I appreciate you 5 guys. And that's pretty much it. Alex, I'll see you next Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Take care.